Do you ever find yourself really struggling to see the good in a bad situation? What if I told you that every time you're challenged in life, it's an opportunity for your own personal evolution and transformation? In this video, we're going to explore how to grow every time something challenges you. Now I'll just share a personal story that really brought this concept to light recently. I was on a 2-week yoga retreat over the last couple of weeks in Tuscany, and it's something that I've been really looking forward to for the whole year. I booked it quite early, and I'm pretty dedicated to my yoga practice, and I'd been really working hard, imagining that this was this sort of peak experience of my year, and I'd be able to go and really express myself at this yoga retreat and practice every day and grow and evolve in a kind of intensive way with my teacher and with this community of people. So I was very excited about it, and I had a lot of very high expectations for how I would be on the retreat. Now, about 3 days into the experience, we went on a bike ride around the Tuscan countryside, which was physically very challenging. It was very rocky and hilly and steep and quite daunting at times for me. And at one point I lost control of my bike. I passed over a stone, I skidded, and I basically fell in a downwards motion and quite badly came off the bike. I hurt my ankle, which swelled up quite extensively immediately. I cut open my knee, I grazed both of my hands, and I was very, very shaken up. I was crying, I was bleeding, I was in shock, and it was quite an unpleasant experience. But what was going through my mind in that moment was not just, oh, ow, this is really painful because I fell off my bike, but it was, oh my God, what's going to now happen on the rest of my yoga retreat? This is my yoga retreat. I've paid for this. I came to do yoga. I'm here to grow and expand and perform and achieve great new results with my practice. What am I going to do now? Just sit around and lie in the sun for a week and a half? I was very concerned in that moment just about the consequences of what had happened rather than being present in the moment of what had actually happened. All that speculation about what's going to happen now, everything's ruined, my opportunity's gone out of the window. That's referred to in the Buddhist tradition as the second arrow. So life sometimes shoots arrows at us. That painful things come our way, and that's just part of the human experience. That's the first arrow. But the second arrow, we actually fire ourselves by responding to situations in a way that goes beyond what's just happened in the present moment. You add suffering to the experience by ruminating about the consequences, or being angry about what's happened, or judging yourself for what's happened, or all the ways that we can sort of layer on problematic thoughts and beliefs to an actual direct experience. So after I'd kind of calmed down the next day from what had happened, I sort of allowed this teaching to percolate around in my mind a bit, and to notice what was the direct experience of falling off my bike and what was I adding. And I was able to then say, okay, well, if I have to lie in the sun for a week instead of doing my practice, that's a lovely imposed break. Maybe that's something really positive. Maybe that was the reason why it happened even. I was able to reframe it and let go of some of the judgments about the situation, which made it a lot easier to just accept what had gone on. And then in that process of acceptance, something really quite miraculous happened. It really gave me the opportunity to now start exploring some stuff that I was not even imagining would be possible on this retreat. What, for example, would my yoga practice be like with some injuries? How would I get to modify things in a way that would be really nurturing and caring for my body when it was in this different state? How would I navigate physical discomfort during my practice? How could I try to be really, really kind for myself and let go of some of the expectations about doing more advanced postures, for example? And it turned out that I ended up having some of the most profound and interesting practices of all, really, because I was able to explore these new different things. And because I'd let go of some of the expectations that I'd brought with me to my yoga mat and to the whole retreat. And so it became an amazing opportunity. I was quite emotional sometimes on the mat, especially the day after the accident. I took one day to just let it all settle down, and then I went back and I got quite emotional at times, and that was also an interesting experience, just allowing some of the thoughts and the beliefs that the accident had raised up to the surface to kind of come out and express themselves energetically. And I had to say, well, you know, if this bad thing hadn't have happened, would some of these expectations and beliefs have surfaced themselves? Would I have the spotlight on them that I now have because of what's happened? Probably not. And so by the last day of the retreat, I'd actually progressed further in my practice than I imagined I would have done even without the injury. And the whole thing was encapsulated by this quote in the book of Ho'oponopono, which I happen to have with me on the holiday. And it says, "This situation has arisen in your life to reveal what needs to be transformed within you for the better." That's basically a summary of the whole thing. I got to see what were my expectations, what were my beliefs, what was I imposing on the situation that needed to be let go of so that I could move forward, so that I could heal, so that my body could repair, so that I could have a new relationship with my practice. So, okay, how can you sort of apply this mindset and these philosophies into your own life? The first step is really to pause and take a moment to breathe and put some distance between yourself and whatever difficult situation has arisen, right? In the actual moment of falling off that bike, I couldn't practice Ho'oponopono, I couldn't think about the second arrow. I needed a moment, some hours, maybe even like overnight to the next day, to be able to really tune in to say, okay, this is what's happened, this is how I'm thinking about what's happened, let me explore what's in that gap. So that's the first step. Take a pause, take a deep breath, get some distance between yourself and what's happened. And then the second step is to practice acceptance of the situation. It's about not firing that second arrow. You're not going to add judgment or rumination or self-criticism because of what's happened. Now, this does not mean that you have to like what's happened. It's just that you're acknowledging it for what it is and you're not adding anything onto it to impose additional suffering to yourself. And then the third step, and I think this is really important and helpful, is to reflect and possibly journal about what's come up for you in that experience, because this is when you really get to look more closely at, okay, what did I add to this situation? What beliefs are underneath the ways that I'm judging this situation? What do I now get to release and let go of because this situation has arisen in my life? And when you really take some time to reflect on that and write it down or make a voice note or do a video or whatever it is that helps you to really work through it, you're going to be able to take the lesson forward and sort of store it and use it as information for the next time that something bad happens in your life. So I hope that's helpful, remembering that every challenge is an opportunity for growth, and you get to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I transform from this? And I would love to hear if you've had any experiences of turning a challenging situation into a moment of evolution. And please comment below, let me know your experiences. I'd love to hear from you. And if you like this video, I would really appreciate if you would hit the like button and subscribe so that you can be tuned in and that we can connect again with the next